Focus. Ideate. Innovate. Enable. WazirX and CNBC TV18 present Crypto, Digital Assets of the Future.
Hello and welcome to this special series. WazirX and CNBC TV18 present Crypto, Digital Assets of the Future. I am now joined by Dr. Praful Chandra. He is founder and CEO, CoinEarth. Dr. Chandra, hi. I welcome you to the show. While India has seen a lot of enthusiasm when it comes to cryptocurrencies and blockchain, the technology has been adopted quite nicely. We have seen a lot of retail institutional participation in case of cryptocurrencies. NFTs have been accepted. We have seen a DeFi dashboard here. There are various hackathons happening in various states by many companies here. First of all, your sense on how the last couple of years have been when you look at the disruptor as a technology.
Thank you, Manisha, for having me. I think the last 2 years, as you correctly put, there has been an exponential increase in both the interest, the adoption, and the realization of the potential of this technology. Right? We have primarily focused on talking to large enterprises, and we are seeing a growing recognition of the fact that this is a technology which is more than just speculation. A lot of people think, who are not yet familiar well with the blockchain technology, if I may say so, they see this as a speculation game. But we are seeing lots of real world applications, solutions, value being built into the ecosystem. And the last 2 years have really been phenomenal in terms of the way this technology has grown in India.
Dr. Chandra, CoinEarth itself does a lot of end-to-end supply chain work here. How has the response been? Who all are you working with, and what kind of growth have you witnessed?
Right. So let me kind of share a couple of anecdotes instead of being theoretical about it. We started in 2018 July, and I still remember the first few times when we went to enterprise customers, and we used to say that we are working in the blockchain space. And there was a natural scare in the room that this is Bitcoin, there is something fishy going on, there's cryptocurrency, and people were not really sure what to make of it. And there was a lot of reluctance in the initial year or so when we were talking to customers about what this technology can do. Today, we are in a place where we get calls from financial institutions and enterprises saying, we know we can use this technology in our ecosystem. Can you tell us how to do this? How your platform can help, how your company can help. That's been the journey of CoinEarth. We kind of launched our first platform built on blockchain in 2019. This was a platform called Markets N, and it was targeted towards supply chains, and that's where the first time we actually used NFTs. These were NFTs for physical products, right? Physical assets which move through the supply chain, which change hands, where ownership, possession changes. So to give you an example, one of the customers that we work with is MG Motors, and we have created something called the Car Digital Passport for them. And I think what that enables is the consent-based sharing of the vehicle data with insurance companies, with buyback partners, with financiers, bringing a lot of transparency in the downstream supply chain of the vehicle after it is sold, to be able to get benefits like lower insurance premiums, higher resale value of the car, making sure that you are able to distinguish the well-driven cars from not so well-driven cars, and so on and so forth. Another customer, for example, that we work with is a Korean company, which has created passports for their vehicles and the drivers associated with them. This is a fleet operator, electrical vehicle fleet operator, and a very similar use case where companies other than the fleet operators want visibility into the data, of course, with the consent being taken from the end user and creating value. So that's been the journey of Markets N. We are launching a second platform now called EngageN, where we are focusing on bringing the NFTs to the media and entertainment space. And we believe that the kind of transformational impact that that can have will also be phenomenal in the next year or so.
All right. I do want to talk to you about media and entertainment. But first of all, since you mentioned so many things that are happening at the same time in Indian markets, it was always debated whether it's a movement or is it a meme. I'm assuming more people believe that it is a movement right now. How have you seen the adoption of that? Technology, yes, one part of it. And there are so many buyers of cryptocurrencies as well out there who now understand technology. They know which coin to buy, which is a better use case coin out there. How would you look at this adoption in the retail and the investment markets?
So here is the way I would think about it. See, As in any market where there are investors, there are well-educated investors and there are investors which follow the crowd, right? And the investors which do their homework will definitely make the right bets. At the same time, if you're kind of going with the FOMO philosophy, which is fear of missing out, and buying tokens because you need to buy tokens, that's probably not a very smart thing to do. The way we look at it is that think of the token as an enabler of a digital economy. If you believe that the token is backed by creating value, by creating a digital economy which previously did not exist, then that token has value. If you cannot justify for the life of you why this token was created, then that's probably something to think twice about. I think it is probably advisable for regulators to kind of step in because the lack of regulatory uncertainty right now is kind of creating a lot of confusion in the market. And I think there's definitely space for crypto to exist with the mainstream or the traditional financing system once it is properly regulated.
Also, Dr. Chandra, when you look at the monthly sales of crypto itself, and I'm just assuming, and I'm just looking at OpenSea right now, it says $95.2 million on a monthly basis. And you know, there was an interesting data otherwise as well. When you look at the Google reports, when you look at the Twitter reports, NFTs, as they are discussed, has jumped up by 50% on a month-on-month basis between that period as well. So definitely there is enthusiasm. There are a lot of questions still being asked on why NFT when I can see it otherwise, when 100 people can download the same picture, why should I be spending money on that? What answer do you give to them?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think there are two or three things. Honestly, when I first kind of discovered NFTs way back in 2017 with CryptoKitties, it took me a little bit of time to kind of digest what was happening. And you know, what I realized was two or three things. I think what is fundamentally happening in the digital space is the definition of ownership itself is changing, right? Now, ownership itself has been a very tricky subject. If you look at the theory of economics, what does it actually mean to say I own something, right? We are in the day-to-day world, we are used to thinking about ownership from an exclusion perspective. The fact that I own it excludes the other person from using it. And these are what are called private goods in economics, right? But there are other goods which we jointly own, right? For example, all public goods that surround us in the world are public goods, and what construct of ownership applies to them is not really very clear. Now, coming to the question that you asked, right? What does ownership of a digital asset mean if other people can see it? Well, let me give you a couple of examples where we see this phenomena again and again, right? If you go to an art gallery, for example, we see that there is artwork hanging in galleries which is available for public worship. And sometimes next to these paintings, you see a placard saying that this painting is on loan from the private collection of Mr. and Mrs. Somebody. And that's a great way to take a pause and think about what just happened here, right? Because here's a couple which spent some million or dollars, like I don't know what amount it was, to buy this painting, but they're not hanging it in their house. They are hanging it in a public display area. And that's a great example of rethinking what ownership means, right? Now, why would that couple do that is something that we need to think about. Now, some people may call it bragging rights. Some people may call it social credibility. Some people may call it a sense of identity, belonging to a select group of people. Whatever you want to call it, I think you need to recognize that human needs extend beyond physical needs. And if there is a way to kind of establish your identity in the digital world, whether it's in social media applications, whether it's in social apps, whether it's inside video games, whether it's on other portals, if you want to define your identity online using digital assets, NFTs will have a key role to play there. I think that's what the NFT phenomena is about. It's about people establishing a digital identity by saying that this is what I relate to, this is what represents me, this is what is an emotional attachment for me. And I think that's the place where NFTs will have a key role.
So, you know, as of now, what India really sees is its art, videos, more about art really. And we have seen celebrities, Bollywood, cricketers actually jump into NFTs. They do see value there. But how do you look at the market trend the way it is right now?
So I think this is the beginning, right? We are at almost t equal to 1, right? I wouldn't say t equal to 0. I think t equal to 0 was uh, probably earlier this year or late last year. I think we are at t equal to 1, where what we are seeing is content being created, digital art being created explicitly for the purpose of creating an NFT. I think very quickly we are going to go into a world where existing digital assets, which are not really minted or created for the digital world, but which have existed in the physical world already, right? Whether it's movies, whether it's songs, um, whether it's key moments from our history, speeches given by world leaders with their cricketing shots, snapshots from our sporting history, those content which already exists out there is very suitable to be kind of minted into an NFT and bought and sold, because people feel an emotional attachment to these movements, right? And they would pay they will pay money to say that this is something that I want to own since it's a limited supply. So that would be, I would say, phase 2, which we are very quickly getting to. Okay. I think the phase 3 of this movement would be when physical assets would start to be represented as NFTs, whether it's your car, whether it's your luxury watch, right, which you want to kind of claim, saying that I own this piece of content. There's no way to do that digitally today, right, in the digital world on your profile, or at least let me say there is no way to do it credibly. Right? You can go and say I own it, but there's no reason for anybody to actually believe you. What NFTs provide is a credible way to claim an ownership of both a digital asset and a physical asset. And I think that's really T equal to 3. And then T equal to 4, just the possibilities are mind-boggling, right? I mean, the way this will open up the economy by digitizing ownership records of all kinds of assets, and those assets can then be used as collateral for borrowing. You'll just see a lot of capital which is tied up in physical assets being made liquid, and that liquidity will fundamentally transform the economy of the country, which moves forward with this.
All right, that was a great explanation. But on that note, we'll have to take a short break. We'll delve deeper into what Dr. Chandra just said, but in just a bit.
WazirX and CNBC TV18 present Crypto, Digital Assets of the Future.
फिर भी तारीख कोर्ट कचहरी का मैटर है, ऊपर नीचे होता रहता है। ये जनाब माफ बिरादर सिर्फ आपसे पैसे निकलवाना चाहते हैं। आपकी परवाह करने वाले करते हैं सीधी बात, जैसे करता है IIFL फाइनेंस। IIFL गोल्ड लोन, ब्रांच में सीधा दो, 5 मिनट में पैसा लो। ज़्यादा लोन की रकम, झंझट सबसे कम। IIFL फाइनेंस, सीधी बात।
Justice is the sum of all moral duty. And that is why we are honoring the best of legal professionals who uphold the laws of our land. Nominations are now open for the Legal Power List 2021. Register today to avail the early bird offers. Forbes India presents Legal Power List 2021 in association with Legit Quest.
देखो 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 नया टीवी देखो got the veggies from Chotu's shop. He gives the right rate.
Yes, Papa.
Decided. 55-inch TV on this wall.
Oh, super. I'll write out the check tomorrow.
No, you don't. I will, with my own money.
Oh, wow. How come?
Look at this advertisement. 30% assured returns on investment. I am also going to invest my money.
So vegetables only from Chotu's shop, but investment advice from anyone? Papa, trusting a stranger's advice is never wise.
But what about the TV?
सोच कर, समझ कर, invest कर.
How about listening to global market maestros before crafting your investment strategy? How about getting deep insights into their businesses from top Indian honchos before putting your money on the line? How about making every trading day profitable with strategies from the market masters, macro pundits, and chart wizards? Only one show gives you a head start to your trading day. Get ready to profit. Get ready for business with Bajar at these times on CNBC TV 18 and CNBCTV18.com. It's been 5 years of indomitable leadership in bringing you the largest M&A deals in the world of business.
It's been an exciting journey from covering the top trends on the deal street to decoding deal dynamics.
5 successful years of catching your attention with the biggest deal makers.
The biggest challenge has always been to find what's going to be the next big deal. Not just in terms of transactions, but even the hottest topics, winning moves, and even deal-making strategies straight from the inner circle.
5 years of delivering the deepest insights and the emerging trends ahead of the curve. Big deal at these times.
आधी आबादी जब पूरी तरह से आत्मनिर्भर होगी, तभी आत्मनिर्भर देश और प्रदेश का सपना साकार होगा। इसे ध्यान में रखते हुए महिला सशक्तिकरण की दिशा में वर्तमान उत्तर प्रदेश सरकार संकल्पबद्ध प्रयास कर रही है। उत्तर प्रदेश में 10 लाख स्वयं सहायता समूहों के माध्यम से 1 करोड़ महिलाओं को रोजगार।
पहले हम लोगों को मार्केट नहीं मिली थी, तो हम लोग अपने गांव में ही बना के अपने गांव में बेचते थे, तो कम इनकम होती थी। अब यहाँ जो बनवा दिया है सर, इससे हम लोगों की आमदनी ज़्यादा बढ़ गई है। यहाँ पे लोग आते हैं, खरीदते हैं। इसके लिए हम इस B2 बाजार जो बनवाया, इसके लिए हम मुख्यमंत्री योगी आदित्यनाथ को धन्यवाद देते हैं अपनी समूह की तरफ से।
बीते 4.5 वर्षों में गांव-गांव में स्वयं सहायता समूहों से जुड़कर महिलाएं आर्थिक रूप से सशक्त हो रही हैं। रोजगार देकर महिलाओं को मजबूत कर रही है योगी सरकार।
यार मत पूछ यार, फिर से स्टॉक्स में फंस गया। स्टॉक्स के साथ बॉन्ड्स, इंश्योरेंस, गोल्ड में बैलेंस कर। इसमें बहुत तामझाम है। तुझे 5 पैसा नहीं पता?
अब तो सबको पता है 5 पैसा है ऑल इन वन अकाउंट। डाउनलोड 5 पैसा नाउ।
अब तो सबको पता है। Investing made easy and rewarding with 5 Paisa. Investments in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.
This is Network 18. And you are watching CNBC TV 18. Powered by eBix Cash. eBix Cash, हर खुशी के लिए काफी है। WazirX and CNBC TV 18 present Crypto, Digital Assets of the Future.
Welcome back, and we are in conversation with Dr. Praful Chandra. Dr. Chandra, before the break, you were telling us on various use cases that we might be looking at with NFTs. There's a stage 1 where we have been perhaps into 2, and we're looking at 3 here. You also talked about on how NFTs are more about need to tell, claim, bragging rights, status perhaps, and you also did talk about the borrowing and collateral that it can be used as. But as of now, from where we stand in the Indian market, there's this conversation on how these various things are going to be taxed. So whether it's cryptocurrency holdings that you have, NFTs or a DeFi, the government or the regulators are still looking at that. So when we look at NFTs in that sense, 1 is the ownership part of it. 2 is when you're talking about your own possessions, whether it's a car or a watch, it's already taxed, and then NFTs are going to be taxed. How do you see the dual taxation? How are you making sense of all of that?
Yeah, that's a great question, Manisha. I would say it like this. Remember, you cannot paint this painting with a single brush, right? There are several nuances here, and that's why I said there is a need for intelligent regulation here. And let me give you 2 examples to kind of carve out that point. So if you look at NFTs for digital assets, right? Whether it's art, whether it's media, whether it's a movie, whether it's song, what have you. Based on our discussions with lawyers, we model this as an end-user license. Right? What is basically being bought and sold is an end-user license on the content. And the way we are kind of putting this under the current taxation bracket based on our understanding is very similar to how you buy software. Right? So if you go and buy your favorite software from a corporation today, let's take an example, you buy Microsoft Office or Microsoft Word, what you're buying is an end-user license. We believe that NFTs for media content and digital art content is fundamentally an end user license on that content, and we are putting it under that category in our GST since it's an Indian regulation. We are saying this is basically an end user license. Now things get very complicated very quickly when you say, well, this NFT actually represents a physical asset on which I have already paid a tax, right? And you kind of turn around and say, okay, so then what does the NFT represent? Well, if NFT just represents a physical asset, should it be taxed or not, is a question that I am afraid I don't have an answer for, right? We are still trying to figure this out, and perhaps more knowledgeable people in the accountancy world and finance world can help us. But I don't really have an answer for that one.
I think we're all waiting for a lot of answers there. Even as people are investing into this, we still are waiting for answers. You mentioned earlier about the media and entertainment and how NFTs is making strong inroads into that one. How do you see that as a sector grow?
I think a big one, because if you look at what we as a country are passionate about, I think two things come to mind immediately, right? One is cricket, and the other is movies, right? Bollywood, or if you want to be Bollywood, Tollywood, depending on which region of the country you come from. But we love movies, we love media and entertainment as a nation, right? And since this whole space is what we call the passion economy, we see this as a way for people to kind of engage even more closely with the content that they already love, right? I think with digitization of music and movies, we have lost something. We have lost the way people used to build their libraries with LP records. My father-in-law, for example, had a collection of LP records. My mother had a collection of audio cassettes. And they took great pain in building it and great pride in showing it off. I think that's the phenomena that's going to come back. As I keep saying, this is not about excluding others from saying that I own this content and therefore you cannot view it. That is not what is going on in this model of ownership. What is going on in this ownership model is the identity that you establish digitally by associating with the content that you love. And since we are a nation of movie lovers and media and entertainment, I think there's a huge opportunity there.
So what I'm saying is, when I look at NFTs, is this is mine, but I'm sharing it with all of you. Is it more like that?
That's absolutely what it is. It is mine. I'm sharing with all of you, but let me put an angle. But do recognize that it is mine. You cannot get away with the fact that this is mine.
All right, get that. All right, it still needs some understanding. I mean, I know a lot of colleagues, a lot of people do want to ask so many questions on that one. But moving on from art to movies to poetry to those movements and memes, and the fashion industry is also taken a strong note of this. We've seen brands come into this one, and as you were saying, Bollywood, yes, from the likes of Amitabh Bachchan, Salman Khan, Sunil Shetty, the list is really long for many of these who understand on what this is about. This is like a big change, and they want to be a part of this. What industries do you see come in sooner than the others? While we are talking about real assets, possessions, etc., but the way we've seen media and entertainment, the way we've seen art, etc., come in, what sectors do you see including fast?
So I think the way I would think about it, it's not about sector, it's about which horizontal, and the horizontal which will transform is marketing. Okay, and let me say why. Marketing for a large number of goods has always been about telling a story, right? And building an emotional engagement with consumers. And let me again give you an example, which I think is a trendsetter. It's going to be a trendsetter. And about 2 days ago, Netflix announced that a partnership with Walmart, right? I think I read this in Bloomberg, where what Netflix said was that every Walmart store or select Walmart stores will have a corner in which products will be sold, which are endorsed by Netflix shows. Okay? And I thought that was a very interesting way of Netflix trying to monetize their content beyond streaming. Right? And what they're basically saying, and this is not a new phenomenon, right? Product placement in movies has been there for a decade, right? But now they're flipping it around, and they are saying, well, product placement is one thing, but movies or content can actually endorse products, right? And why would people want to do that? Because remember, a lot of our decisions, buying decisions, are not rational. right? We love to think ourselves as rational beings, but we are actually emotional beings, and a lot of our buying decisions are made based on emotions. And when you watch a show, if you develop an emotional connect with it, then if there are no other differentiators in the product, then you're more likely to buy the product which comes with the story behind it, right? And that's what Netflix is tapping into. And I think marketing professionals really need to start thinking about this much more seriously, as to how they connect the emotional appeal of content, which they have done with ads and what they have done with product placements in content. Take this a step further and say, is there a way to kind of bring NFTs into the marketing world by combining media and products? And I think it's a huge open space for innovation.
Oh, really is. There's a lot of that stuff happening there, and a huge growth is what the markets are also working with. Dr. Chandra, we really thank you for joining us here and for that very, very interesting, exciting conversation. Thank you for your time.
WazirX and CNBC TV 18 present Crypto, Digital Assets of the Future.